great pleasure to always welcome back our next guest on the show. She's a good friend of ours and a good friend of yours as well. And as we are in the Christmas time, holiday time, she has a brand new CD out called Deana Martin, White Christmas. And always great to welcome our friend Deana Martin with us today on the show. Deana, it's been a few months since we talked to you. How you been?
Very busy, but great. We've been having a lot of fun, but trying to get the new Christmas album together and out has been quite a lot of work. but it's been fabulous. And of course, doing shows, in between and on the road and traveling around. And but we miss you guys, and I know your weather is better than ours.
It was about 75 today, so yeah, good weather down here for Christmas. First day of winter as we tape this. Yeah, you gotta. Well, I know you're used to the nice weather, but you're in the middle of the country now, so you don't get quite the same weather anymore, do you? That you grew up with.
No, we don't. Yeah. So yes, I mean, growing up in Beverly Hills, it was wonderful weather. That was beautiful, and now we have a home. We bought a house in Branson, Missouri, so it gets a little bit cold.
Little cool.
Uh-huh.
I actually was out in close to your old stomping grounds last week. I took a little trip out. We had a bunch of college buddies, actually four of us. A friend of ours lives in Palm Springs. We were out there for a nice long weekend. I'd never been out there before, so I'm sure you've been there many times, but it's a nice place.
Oh, yes. We have, our family has a house there, and, ever since I was a very little girl, we would go there all the time. But it's certainly grown now. Palm Springs has. Now, were you in Rancho Mirage or right in Palm Springs?
Palm Desert was the neighborhood, but we went down to downtown Palm Springs and actually saw the Follies show. I've heard that was a famous show, so we saw that.
Oh, and how was that?
It was very good, yeah. I'd heard about it, and then my friend said, there's a show running when we're out there, and John Davidson was the featured act in it. A very good show. A lot of the retired, not obviously retired, but maybe women and men that were in dancers in many shows and TV and movies work in that show, so it's very good.
Yes. Well, that's great. We go to Palm Springs quite often, and it's just a nice kind of laid back, well, kind of like Florida, kind of like where you are.
It reminded me a lot of where I am here in Sarasota. Oh, we drove on your Uncle Frank's road, Frank Sinatra Drive.
Yes, isn't that funny?
And Bob Hope Drive too. We saw so a lot of streets named after showbiz folks.
Well, we need the Dean Martin, and there's Dinah Shore Boulevard, and I think there is a Dean Martin there.
There must be. I didn't see it, but there must be one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we got off the track there, but.
Yes. But no, but I'm thinking about White Christmas and.
Of course, Bing lived out there too. Speaking of White Christmas, he lived out there, didn't he? Or had a place.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. So, it's it's a family affair.
That's right. Well, you're in a good place for Christmas, Branson. I mean, you do a song with your friend Andy Williams on the CD. I mean, that's a great place to be at Christmas time. You do White Christmas with him.
What a thrill that was for me to be able to record with him. And, of course, he is Mr. Christmas. And I have a cute story. My dad, well, actually, Andy told me when we were recording, he said, do you know what your father calls me? I said, well, no, I guess Andy. No. He said, a few years back, he said, I was in a restaurant with your dad, and he said, your mom, your dad and your mom were sitting there. It was at La Familia restaurant in Beverly Hills. And he said, so your mom, waves at me and says, to Dean, hey, Andy Williams is here. And so my dad looked up and he said, hey, Christmas. So he calls him Christmas from now on. And Andy got a big kick out of that. And he's just such a incredible singer and dear, sweet friend. And we are praying for him right now. He's sick, but
right. We heard about that.
He's going through, the chemo and that. And he said he's feeling good and he's going to beat this thing, and he's very positive. So we are praying for him. But what a nice man! And doesn't he sound incredible on White Christmas?
I listened to that. I mean, you listen to his records from whenever he started in the late 50s and 60s, and listen today, and it's the same quality.
He's absolutely amazing, and we had just seen his show. He has the Moon River Grill here in Branson, Missouri, and we had just seen him with Anne Margaret, and he just sounded unbelievable. But of course, we are good friends with he and his wife Debbie, and I have to tell you, the look on Debbie's face when we went over with the finished product, when it was I brought him 10 CDs, and we sat down in his living room, and this is the first time that Debbie had heard the finished product.
Right.
And so she sat there, and we're looking at each other, and Andy kind of winks because she didn't hear when I say at the end, "Merry Christmas, Andy,"
Yeah.
and he says, "Merry Christmas, Deana," and her jaw dropped, and she was so excited about it. And every time I hear it, still, I've listened to it, I can't tell you how many times. It's just so beautiful to me, and I get chills whenever I hear him say that.
Oh yeah, it's a great recording. I mean, did you do that like most Christmas albums in the summertime when it was really hot?
Yes, it was so, and we had a really hot summer this summer.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And so we did part of it in Florida and part at Capitol Records in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
And so it was, I tell you, it was blistering outside, and so we got some garlands and some tinsel and put it over, the microphones and around the studio, and cranked up the AC, and so it was fun. But that's usually when you record them is in June and July. So it was.
Well, another song you do on here, the Christmas song, Mel Torme actually wrote that song. I think he said it was one of the hottest days he could remember in California, and he wrote that just to cool himself off. So that was written.
That's right. I love
in a
that
hot
story.
day. Yeah.
Yes, and for me to be able to record a lot of the songs that my dad recorded.
Oh yeah.
Was so much fun, and I'm thinking about "Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow," which Sammy Kahn wrote the lyrics,
right.
and Julie Stein. So, and Sammy didn't see snow in Beverly Hills
No.
when we were there, but they could just write so beautifully.
Silver Bells, of course, which
Silver Bells.
Bob Hope did in the movie, and Bing
right.
recorded that, and I'll Be Home for Christmas, one of my favorites, and Winter Wonderland is on that. I think your dad had a big hit with that one, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And it's cute. I was walking in a mall yesterday doing some Christmas shopping, and I'm seeing all the shoppers, and they're walking. We're down at the Branson Mall, and I'm walking, and they have the big fountains that are kind of like the Bellagio in where the dancing.
Vegas, yeah.
Yes, right. And it's a marshmallow world. Dad was singing, and all the shoppers were walking by, and the waterfalls are going, and it was really it was so touching for me, and it was just really a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that's another good one that he did. And, well, I really like this song, and it only gets played between Christmas and New Year's. Is "What Are You Doing New Year's Eve?" I think that's an underrated song, and you do that on the album. I like that song.
It really is, and I think this rendition, these orchestrations are unbelievable. Of course, Charlie Colello is amazing. He lives down there. Well, he's in Boca Raton.
Oh yeah.
And he has done all of my arrangements, and we have, like 40 strings on this album, and it was just remarkable to be able to record it. But that's one of my favorite cuts on the album. What Are You Doing New Year's Eve?
Yeah, great song. Frank Lester wrote that. I think it was for, I'm not sure if it was a movie or a show, but it really is an underrated song, and too bad people don't play it throughout the year. It's a good song.
I know, and you know what? And you can play it throughout the year.
You can,
the lyrics,
yeah.
When he says, maybe it's much too early in the game.
Right.
But
right.
I'd like to ask you just the same. So she can be asking him for New Year's Eve all year long.
All year long.
Yeah.
You talked about you got great charts on here, and then I think in the past, Al Schmidt has been the guy that mixes it all for you. He did this one too, right? I mean, he done previous CDs.
Yes, he did, and what fun to watch him. And he has such.
He's one of the masters of all time, isn't he? With Capitol Records.
He really is.
Yeah.
Something like 21 Grammy Awards.
Not bad.
Yeah, and he's just the nicest, sweetest man you'd ever want to meet. And I don't know how he does it. He has just this incredible hearing, and he hears. When I'm thinking about 88 pieces in an arrangement. And he's listening to all the horns and the harps and the strings. It's quite amazing to watch him. And so that was fun for me.
And we don't want to forget, of course, your husband, John Griffith, produced it. He's has a credit on the back here. So, I mean, he's always there with you, and that's a great team you make.
Oh, we do. Well, thank you for saying that. And yes, he's a very good producer. And he's the one who said, well, let's play that back one more time. Let's hear that again.
Does it get annoying after a while?
Well, you know what? It does, but also the finished product is always so good.
Yeah.
Because he knows how to ask people to do things over again, and he'll hear something, and they'll say, well, I mean, he's very diplomatic about it. He says, well, let's try it one more time, and then we'll do it, and it usually just turns out just perfect. And so he's in the other room, and he knew that I was going to be talking to you today, and he said, say hi to Doug for me.
Back to him.
And
Yeah, always great to talk to John.
Yeah.
And last we talked was we were down here last March in Sarasota, the Van Wezen. But before that, it doesn't seem like a whole year went by. You were down at that great show up in Treasure Island at the Club TI. That was a lot of fun.
That's right. Wasn't that a great night?
That was kind of the throwback to the old kind of Rat Pack nightclub kind of venues, wasn't it?
It really was, and it's kind of a odd shape.
It was.
It was a long, thin room, but going like the wrong way. But we had so much fun, and that audience was so great.
Good night.
And
yeah.
of course,
yeah.
I had just a trio with me right then, and we had Vinnie Falcone,
yeah.
who was with Frank Sinatra for so long, and so I had good musicians, and it's a small stage, and we had Pete Barbuti.
He was great.
He's not
yeah.
funny. Oh gosh.
A little certifiable, but he's great.
Yeah, he is. He is. And but we had such a wonderful, kind of like a Rat Pack night.
It was fun.
Singing all the songs in Treasure Island, and so we will be going back there, and I'll give you a call.
I hope so. Yeah, I was hoping you'd come back there. It's great. They do a lot of. I think they just kind of started doing the entertainment when you started last year.
I believe so.
So they're picking it up again this year, but that's great. And a lot of musicians that were in your group that night are based right here in Sarasota and St. Pete. Dominic Mancini, he does a lot of work down here in Sarasota with the Jazz Club. I think he was your bassist that night.
Yes,
so
that's
a lot
right.
of great guys that work up there. But I know you're going to be traveling again. I know you've been traveling a lot with the Christmas show. You were out in San Francisco, I saw on your website, and Columbus most recently, weren't you? Doing a tribute to your dad?
Yes, well, we just got back. I guess that was last Sunday, and at the Valleydale Ballroom. And I'm very proud to say that after the show, and it was a big Christmas show with snow falling, from the ceiling, and it was just amazing, and dancers, and what fun. And I was inducted into the Big Band Hall of Fame.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes,
yeah.
So my picture's up there with Tommy Dorsey and Benny Goodman and Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby and Perry Como. So it was quite a thrill for me.
Wow, that's great. Yeah,
Yes, isn't that nice? And my photo was the only one in color.
That's right. Well, you weren't around in those years, but you keep the legacy alive.
That's exactly right. That's right. We're bringing it to new generations, and we will just keep this going. It's the greatest music in the world.
It really is. I started playing it when I was in college up in Long Island on the radio station, and continue to do so whenever wherever a station lets me. But I think more people should be exposed to it. It's great music.
I think so, and it's lyrics that have meaning, and they say something, and it will last forever. It's classics. I don't think that a lot of this music today is going to last.
I don't see how. No.
No, I don't. And I know. I probably shouldn't get into that.
Are we going to play Lady Gaga records in 40 years? I don't think so.
She's an amazing singer.
Oh yeah.
She is an amazing, talent and everything. It's just.
I'd like to hear her sing some standards. Then you can tell if somebody can sing.
You're right.
Don't you think?
She probably. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like when I watch, Christina Aguilera. She's an unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
And when she did the duet with Tony Bennett. So
yeah.
It's nice.
I would just like once in a while. I mean, Rod Stewart. I never thought he would do an album of standards. He did. I think he's done 5 or 6. But some of those rock stars who do those, they find a whole new audience. I think it's a good thing to do.
Exactly. I think it is, and also it does shine the light on it to a whole different area of people, a whole different age group. So I think that was very good and positive.
Yeah.
And of course, then you have the cute Michael Bublé. So.
Yeah, I just saw him on Saturday Night Live this week. He's trying to keep kind of the legacy of your dad and Frank Sinatra kind of going. A similar vein, I guess, is what he's trying to do, right? Yeah.
He's trying. God bless him. Anyone who who gets out there and tries, and he's wonderful. He's an incredible talent, beautiful, beautiful voice, and he's just a nice guy. So it's it was meant to be.
Yeah, I'm glad to. I mean, nothing wrong with rock and all that, but you would like to hear occasionally some good music now and then.
Yes, no, I do. I know exactly what you mean, and that's why I sing these songs. But what fun, for this Christmas song and
Oh yeah.
Christmas album, and then to travel around doing Christmas shows. And so we were in San Francisco at the Raz Room at the Hotel Nico,
Right.
and then we went to Hollywood. And so my mom and the family came. We were at Catalina's Jazz Club up on Sunset Boulevard, and that's a wonderful, wonderful room. And so we had a good time doing that, and how great to have my old friends come. And in fact, Mrs. Sammy Kahn came.
Oh, really? Okay.
Gloria came, and so I dedicated Let It Snow to her. Because I remember growing up and going over to their house and swimming in their pool. And they lived across the street. Sammy lived across the street from Judy Garland.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so we would go over there, and they were over there on Mapleton Drive. Boy, Doug, now you're bringing back a lot of memories for me.
Did you get to know Judy Garland at all? I mean, I know she passed away
yeah.
quite a while ago. Did you get to know her pretty well? Yeah.
Yes, when I was a little girl.
Sure. Yeah.
And in fact, we went over to her house, all the kids. So she had Lorna and Liza and Joey, and then all my brothers and sisters. We were over at Judy's house, and we said, let's put on a show. I mean, we really did. We said, let's put on a show, and we did a show, and then Judy came over and knelt down after the show, and she said, Deana, you were the best tree I've ever seen. I said, that's the best Christmas tree. So that was fun.
I'd always heard that at parties she would come up and sing. I mean, she was not a person that would only do it on stage. I mean, she would sing at parties. Is that true?
Oh,
or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, she had the best sense of humor. Oh my gosh, she was so funny, and just a wonderful, unbelievable talent.
Mm.
And we just lost her way too soon. And
it was sad, yeah, when you saw what
so
she went
sad.
through. I mean, obviously, there's pill problems and other issues going on. But if she had had some help, I think she may have been able to survive that. But I guess she never really
I
quite
think
got that
so.
help.
If it had been happening now,
Right.
things. I think things would have been different. But what an incredible talent! And in fact, I played her song "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas" on the Seriously
That's on the
Sinatra
CD.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great
Yes.
song.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And to watch her singing it to little Margaret Sullivan. Is that the little girl in?
Is it Margaret O'Brien?
Margaret O'Brien.
O'Brien, yeah, right. Yeah.
Margaret O'Brien. Yeah. So watching that, watching her sing that brings back a lot of memories again.
I know, talking to Deana Martin, if people just joining us, who has a brand new CD out called White Christmas. And Deana, just talk a little bit about, the great, obviously your dad's variety show, but every year he would do a Christmas show. Any memories you have of some of their favorite Christmas shows with your dad?
Oh, well, of course, my favorite all-time Christmas show was the Dean Martin show with the Sinatras and the Martins.
Mm.
And so all of the children were on, and in fact, in the new White Christmas CD, when you open up the...
I'm doing it right now. There's a picture right in there.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you take out the CD, there's the photo of all of us. So it's all the Sinatras and all of the Martins, and we're sitting there at Christmas on the Christmas show, and it's a beautiful photo. And I just, I have so much fun looking at it, and all of us are there. So
You're looking right at Frank.
I'm looking right at Frank. He's just sitting right next to me, and I'm just staring at him, and everybody else is looking at the camera. But I loved him so much, and it's what memories. And we all got to sing with them. But there was one part of that show when it was Dad and Uncle Frank, and they did the medley, and they just stood there singing, the two of them. And it was so remarkable. It was almost like for 15 minutes.
Wow.
It went on, and they just sang and sang. And it was just so adorable to watch them having so much fun and to hear them. They were just so great. They would, Dad would turn around and run away from the cameras,
That's right.
turn around and come back. I mean, it was just a terrific show. And, and Tina and Nancy and Frank were on, and as I say, all my brothers and sisters, and we just had a wonderful, Christmas show. And so it's one of the most requested shows, and it's, Christmas shows. And so hopefully we'll be able to get it out one day.
It's a shame they they can't air those somewhere on cable, or even the network. I know there's rights fees and all that they have to go through, but it would be great to see those again, in entirety, not just clips,
Exactly. In fact, we have a new DVD set out for Dad with the Dean Martin variety show. It's called King of Cool, and I'm in about 5 different shows, 5 different clips in it, and that's available anywhere.
Oh, great.
And so that's a great Christmas gift also. And it's called Dean Martin King of Cool, the best of the Dean Martin variety show. And it's, Time Life has put it out. But what fun to sit and watch these shows and to see Dad up there with all these incredible stars and their singing and all the production numbers. And it was like putting on a Broadway play every week.
Oh, yeah.
What they did.
Yeah, what's kind of funny, maybe kind of sad in a certain way, when you watch the Dean Martin, the infomercials for those variety shows or the roasts. Those shows as infomercials are more entertaining than what's on today. A lot of them.
I know.
Just that half hour. I know it's an infomercial, but I don't think of it as that. It's an entertaining half hour. I know it's selling the videos, but that's a great show in itself.
I tell you, I watch it myself.
Yeah.
Because I just get enthralled, and I'm looking. Everybody's having such a good time, and they're smiling. They look great, and and I can sit there and watch the whole thing.
Anytime I flip by and I see it on, I watch it for a couple minutes, even though I've seen it maybe 10 or 15 times. They're fun to watch. Those
I know. I'm just like you. Even though it's my dad.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's entertaining.
It is.
And so I love it.
And just looking at this picture again, did anybody look better in a tuxedo than you or your dad and Frank? I mean, nobody wears tuxedos anymore on stage, do they?
No, I know. And they just looked so handsome, and they were so comfortable in it, and to be able to
and
watch
classy.
them.
I mean, I think that's
very.
You don't see that as much anymore on TV. I'm talking about.
No, and you don't see any of those great variety shows anymore. And I'm sorry about that. Now they have all these silly reality shows.
I know.
I'm sorry. Should I have said that?
No, I agree with you. They're terrible.
Yeah, no, it's true. And then people are making, millions and millions of dollars, acting like nuts, and it's a little ridiculous. But that has nothing to do with us. We're playing great music and carrying on a great legacy. So it's all good.
Really is. And you'll be coming back. We're going to have you on again, but I know you're heading this way to Clearwater, which is just a little bit up the road from us in Sarasota. Ruth Eckerd with your friend Bob Newhart again. That's going to be fun.
With Bob Newhart. He is such a doll. He is so funny. Just to sit there with him, and he's so deadpan, and he just the way he says something, you have no idea it's going to be that funny. And he just says it, and you go, and he's so clever.
Oh yeah.
He's so sharp. And it's a thrill for me. So I'm very excited about that. And when I go on first and I sing all my songs and I do my thing, and then I walk off stage and he walks on, and I'll just stand there and watch him because I'm mesmerized by him. And how he remembers all of that, every nuance, and he's so great.
You had a chance.
I hope everybody comes.
Oh yeah,
I think that's March 18th.
March 18th will be a matinee, and we'll have you on a couple of weeks before that again. But I just want to give a quick plug now. And I had a chance to talk to. I know you and I talked last March. I had a chance to talk with Bob before that show. Did about a half an hour with him. Great guy, just like talking to a neighbor. I mean, very kind of humble, quiet guy, but interesting. I mean, he had some great stories.
That's exactly right, and that's how he is. It's such a cute story about how he started, and he had the partner, and he was an accountant.
Right.
He looks like an accountant.
He does.
And it's just an honor for me to be able to do the show with him, because he was on my dad's show so many times.
I was going to say, he was almost a regular on that show.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's that one skit that he does where he walks in, and my dad, who's like the salesman.
Right.
Bob walks in, he has a hat on, and he wants to return. He has like a toupee that he wants to
Right.
return under the hat. Well, I just tears when I think about when I watch him. I'm just laughing so hard the tears are coming down. But there's so many priceless things that he does. So we're going to have fun at.
You're doing a few dates, I know. You're doing another one in Hollywood and I think in South Carolina. So you're doing a tour with Bob.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, we get along so well, and
Yeah.
and it's a good mix. There's people who love Bob Newhart, love Dean Martin and Deana Martin, and
Oh,
so
sure.
now we can just travel around and do that and have a fantastic time, and people enjoy it so much. So yes, I think we'll be at the Hard Rock in Hollywood.
Hard Rock in Hollywood. Yeah.
Now we were at the Peace Center. I can't remember the other place we're going.
Yeah. We'll let them know next time we have you on
Okay.
for the winter and spring tour when you come back to Florida. That's great. You know.
All right, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Always so nice to talk to you.
It is, yeah. Well, now after the holidays, I mean, do you work on some different songs into the act?
Yes, and I'm putting in some new songs, and of course I have, as I say, I have Vinny Falcone, who is my musical director, and he's written some new arrangements for me.
Oh, great.
So that's very nice. And I have a couple new songs that I will be doing. Read Between the Lines is wonderful, and Someone to Watch Over Me.
Oh, great song.
And,
First one, yeah.
yes, I have to say that Vinny has written a wonderful. It's kind of like a samba, and it's great. So we're putting in new songs and changing the show, and you have to keep moving and adding things and putting.
Well, it's a great act. I mean, when you come out and it's like you're talking to the audience, like they are your friends. But I really enjoyed seeing it last year. It was great stuff.
Thank you so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, it makes me. I feel like they are all my friends, and I do have a nice connection with the audience.
Yeah.
And so that's what a treat and a pleasure for me, because when I go out there, I know that they loved Dean Martin, and so they're pulling for me.
Oh, sure.
And and we just have a wonderful time, and how can you miss with great music and fun stories? So it's just a wonderful evening.
Before we go, I got to ask you again. I know last year you were talking about. I think you even announced it during your show about the movie you're working on your dad. Any developments on that, or anything coming up with that you can talk about, or do you have to?
Well, yes. Well, it's still in the works. It's just that in Hollywood things are glacially
I know.
slow. And so we are progressing. And I think I told you Jennifer Love Hewitt's going to play me.
Oh, right. I remember you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
right.
that's nice. And
Now Bonnie Hunt is writing it, or has written it, right?
Yeah, she's writing the screenplay.
Yeah.
And she's been really busy. And Joe Mantegna is he's directing. We just had a meeting a couple months ago. We were in L.A. I was playing at the House of Blues, and so we got together and talked with his partner, with Danny Ram, and that was good. So it's getting closer. It just takes so darn long.
I know.
Yeah, but we're going.
It'll happen. I mean,
I know it will.
the subject is there, so I mean, if people are interested, and that's two of the three things you need.
That's exactly right.
Is this theatrical or cable TV or network TV movie?
Still working. Well, you know what? We can't figure it out yet because it covers such a long time span.
Right.
That they're trying to figure out, should it be a mini series? Should it be
like an HBO kind of thing, maybe?
Right.
Yeah.
So we haven't even gotten to that. So, but that's something that we have to figure out before the screenplay is written, of course.
Right. Oh, there's so many obviously stories. I know on Frank Sinatra they did a whole mini series. So your dad, I'm sure, has as many stories or more.
Oh yes. Oh yes. It'll be very
great.
entertaining and loving and respectful and well, it'll be like my book.
Yeah.
That's what's important.
Memories are made of this.
Memories are made of this.
This is
Dean
the book.
Martin Through His Daughter's Eyes.
Yeah.
And they can get it on Amazon or go on to DeanaMartin.com, and it's a fun website, and see all the photos and things like that.
And again, the name of the CD is just called Deana Martin, White Christmas. Again, you go to DeanaMartin.com and get it, or I'm sure anywhere else. And stores have it, and Amazon, and all those places, right?
Yes, and they'll deliver it to you. You've got to have it for Christmas. It's just, it's a happy CD, and it's wonderful, as I say, with the incredible arrangements, and it's, produced beautifully. So I'm really happy with how it turned out, but it's only going to be for a few more days.
That's right.
And then we have to put it away
But
until next
but
year.
it's a perennial though.
Oh, it is. No,
One of
that's
those kind of
definitely
things.
true.
So
That's right.
once you put a
That's right.
Christmas album out, people keep it in their collections forever, which I think is great. You know.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what I want. You know, for me, when I sat down to write my Christmas cards, I put on the Christmas albums, and it just puts you in the mood. And
Oh
put
yeah.
on a fire, and it's great. It is the most wonderful time of the year.
We put the air conditioner on here. But it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. It's just a wonderful time of the year, and people are in a good mood. So that's nice.
That's right. Well, Deana always goes too fast when we have you on, but we will look forward to talking to you sometime in early March before you head down this way to Clearwater for your live show here. But Merry Christmas to you and to John and everybody out there in Branson.
Well, thank you so much. I will wish everyone well for you, and we love you and miss you, and always have a good time when I'm on your show. And Merry Christmas to you, and I'll see you after the New Year.